Good morning. My name is John West. I live here in Arizona and Lake Havasu City and in the Western United States. And I'm pleased to be part of this three-person panel. Honored to join Dr. Shiv Talwar, the author of Global Action in Education, and also Dr. Sami Rafiq, who Dr. Sami Rafiq is in India. Shiv is in Canada. I'm in the Western United States. So this is definitely a global coverage of Shiv's newest book, a gem. And I met Shiv Talwar in 2019 here in Lake Havasu City. Shiv is a person of passion, of compassion, of immense intelligence, and a heart that wants to share and see a change in this world. And he shared that. I could tell that the time we met. Shiv, we met here at the Rock Garden in Lake Havasu City, where Shiv and Swarn are snowbirds. They come down here regularly in the wintertime. Have been for several years before I met them in 2019. And Shiv at that time was volunteering his time at the local library, the Havasu branch of the Mojave County Library here in town, a weekly workshop on breathing. And so when I met Shiv, I met him at the time his book came out, his first book. I read that, made a review on Amazon, and started taking his breathing classes immediately at the library here. And when Shiv and Swarn went back to Canada, I continued, was fortunate on Monday evening. Shiv hosts a breathing workshop every Monday, virtually every Monday of the year. And so I've been studying with Shiv now since the fall of 2019, so going on full 4 years, 3.5+ years that I've been studying and working with Shiv on breathing and concepts, and and watching him develop a web app even that he's just amazing. At 85 years old, developed a web app and for breathing that he shares under the Spiritual Heritage Education Network's website, spiritualeducation.org. On the front page, you can find a beautiful app to learn deep diaphragmatic breathing, and it has many resources in there for teaching others and learning. So today, we're here obviously to review Global Action Education, Contemplative Learning of Unity and Diversity by Dr. Shiv Talwar. I'm honored, like I say, to been asked. I'd like to start right out. I'll share my screen. I will hit my PowerPoint presentation here and go from the beginning. There we go. So my name is John West, and I am honored to know Shiv Talwar and honored to have been asked to review a book that I purchased as soon as it came out this year, and I wrote a short review on Amazon. But this book, I'm going to give a review based on me as a non-academic person. I had 36 years in working in the railroad industry and retired from a management position in the year 2002. But I am a perpetual student, as they say. My mother went back to college at age 80 and graduated in August of 2006 with a bachelor's degree right before her 86th birthday. So she always said, you're never too old to learn. And I'm always learning, and I'm blessed to have Shiv Talwar in my life. Global Action in Education, Contemplative Learning of Unity and Diversity. As you see on the title page here, in the book, it covers social science, life sciences, natural science, spiritual wisdom, holistic science. Of course, holistic science covering it all. In 1947, as Shiv shares, he was in India in the partition of India and watching horrific things happen as people based on religion were doing horrible things to each other. And he was living a whole different life in 1947, the year I was born. Over there, seeing things. He was 10 years old when I was born. He was seeing things that impacted his life and set him on his quest to help have a unified, kind, peaceful, loving world. I grew up in a little different bubble out here in the Western United States. My father worked on the railroad for many years, as did my grandfather, as did I. Grow up and started working on the railroad. I had a 36-year railroad career. My dad was 38 years. This picture I've had as a reminder to me of the innocence of the children, innocence of what we grow up. We have a loving experience. Accepting other people, we accepting each other. It's not until a little bit later that we start seeing and being told that there's differences. Here in this picture down in the train station in Los Angeles, our family, because my dad worked on the railroad, we had free passes. We could travel, and we took vacations that way, and I was exposed to an awful lot from my parents. But here in this picture, my dad and one of his railroad friends down in Los Angeles are standing here in such a relaxed position. Both have big smiles. I'm here, and the warmth of this picture to me is what we should always be feeling. What happens when we grow a little older and we're told what there's differences, and differences are pointed out to us, differences that emerge from growing up for me in a high demand religion that I broke out of as a teenager. But I was raised by beautiful parents who were loving, who dedicated their lives to serving others. And I was great examples given to me by my parents. And so how do the children that are born with this pure innocence, what happens when societal impacts start changing our viewpoint and being told that there are differences? I jumped forward to 2007 over in Italy. I was visiting this is my son-in-law. My daughter and son-in-law were living in Belgium, and my granddaughter here was born in Belgium, and we were on a little tour of a few countries together, and this was in Ticino, Italy. Two little girls where their family speaks Italian, and this American family over here, my son-in-law, and this little girl. These two little girls approached my granddaughter Karina, and they all had an exchange with no sentences spoken because they weren't of the age yet to be formulating full sentences. But they communicated. They communicated through their hearts and their smiles and their reach and their touch. And so what happens? What happens to us? What can we do? And in Global Action and Education, Dr. Talwar asks, can we unleash the desire to love all existence for the generality of human beings? And emphatically, he states the answer to this question is yes. Yes, we can unleash the desire to love all existence for the generality of human beings, and adds all we need to do, all we need to transform ourselves is self-knowledge and understanding of our own body and mind. In this book, he gives us tools and information to accomplish this transformation. Now is the time. This is, we see witnessing things of our institutions bearing down on the youth by highlighting differences in skin color, gender identity, societal narratives and agenda, which turn lead to verbal and physical attacks from kids in elementary school to young adults in institutions of higher learning. We see this in the news. We see this in our lives, and what can we do about it? Shiv outlines in his book, Global Action Education, what can be done to implement programs in school to teach children to be in touch with their bodies, their mind, understand it, find that way to slow the mental traffic, center, be in tune with ourselves, and find that peace and calm, which makes us more generous to care about our fellow beings. Global action education is needed now. Shiv's vision is sharp, focused, loving, caring, understandable, and doable. I see this book, Global Action Education, is not listed as a handbook or reference guide. However, for me, that's how I look at it and use it and feel it. I see it not only as a proposal with supporting discussion, but a true handbook, a reference manual to be used by influencers, educators, facilitators, students, parents, grandparents, to understand the background concepts together with methods of implementing and integrating practices proven to lead to unity and diversity. This book is a proposal for global action to re-envision and redesign education for the future. That's a large statement and a large proposal and a large undertaking Shiv did to put into this book a very concise, understandable action plan, global action. Another quote from the preface: the target audience is everyone around the world interested in educating future generations. Everyone around the world. This target audience of this book is for everybody, every one of us. I highly recommend that everyone listening, hearing this, purchase this book and find out for yourself how beautiful it is written, and what can we do? How can we implement this in our educational systems? The current system of education does not resolve the problem of intolerance, bigotry, and identity-based hatred. If it did, there would be no lack of tolerance of differences in the so-called educated world. This is a quote, one of the preface quotes I pulled out. I can't say it any better than Shiv did. He does. That's why I've put a few of his quotes in here along the way, because Shiv exudes this desire, this passion to teach all of us to be inclusive, to treat each other, and in turn treat the world, the earth, properly. Education must proactively teach life skills used for lowering the speed of mental distractions, to help students to cultivate their minds. Cultivating the mind is nothing more than cultivating its focus of attention. In spiritual language, it's transformative. Students can't pay attention without tools. Another preface quote: we need to educate the population to recognize the unity that underlies the apparent diversity that our senses perceive. As we treat each other well, so will we treat Earth with the respect she deserves. I'm going to jump forward to one of the appendices. There's several appendices in the book that support the proposal, but this wraps up a good summary statement here in Appendix M, Human Nature and the Potential of Education. To envision education to unleash our full potential, we must understand where we are, where we come from, our journey from origin to now, and how this journey shaped the nature underlying our prevailing state. Only then can we realistically envision and plan education to extract maximum benefit from it. The structure of this book, of course, in the book, there's the preface, the endorsements. The endorsements of this book are absolutely beautiful, powerful. It's got the executive summary, and then statement of proposal. Statement of proposal in the book is 28 pages. In that 28 pages, Shiv concisely outlines his proposal, including background thinking, diversity and unity, we are both, the current situation and proposed suggestion. It's powerful. I mean, he nails it. Need and nature of contemplative education, historical perspectives, based on calling on ancient wisdom, ancient spiritual wisdom, ancient teachings, contemporary quotes, peer-reviewed studies. This book is very well put together. Determinants of individual and collective happiness, including remarks. I'm just going through a little different as a book review, but a review of the contents and how this book is structured and what it means to me. So the appendices, each appendix is brilliantly packed with illustrated figures demonstrating concepts, references to studies, historical perspectives, exceptional quotes from ancient and contemporary thinkers, action plans written in concise and comprehensive narratives, to educate the educators and resonate with a non-academic mind as well. I consider myself not to be academic, a non-academic mind. It's an exceptional book. As a grandfather, a father and grandfather, I have a real concern. I see that concern. I hear stories. I see things, hear stories that happen to students. I'll go through the appendices and then share a couple of stories with you. Appendix A, the sponsoring organization, continue on, reductionist and holistic narratives. These are all appendices that are in depth, each one of them, to help support the proposal. Holistic science, evolution of human nature, the power of the breath. The power of the breath. That's where so much of this is based on finding that peace through power of the breath. Executive brain and sense gratification, purpose and the state of contemplation. Relaxation response, yoga and executive function, contemplative countries and companies. There's examples here of companies that have implemented some of these practices. And also public policy and political will as an appendix that he touches on. This book leaves nothing to the imagination of what Shiv is driving at, what Shiv's passion is, what the concepts are, questions to ask, where we are, how can we find a path to bring everyone together globally. And it's a big proposal. And Appendix M, content and process of contemplative learning and research. This includes point-by-point problems and solutions. Shiv asks the questions, he points out the problems, and he doesn't leave it there. He outlines solutions. He outlines solutions based on his lifelong studies, his at 85 years old, he has another book published. He has another one on the way. He's teaching people weekly through breathing workshops. He's spending countless hours promoting his vision that was born in that partition of India in 1947 and continues with a passion to this day. The shift in consciousness ushered in by contemplative practice makes you kind. If you treat people with kindness, they want to reciprocate and make you happy. Thus, these practices not only are good for the soul, but can also be good for business in the long run. A quote that I have on my refrigerator door that I place there so I can see it each day is, a little knowledge that acts is worth infinitely more than much knowledge that is idle. And that is a quote from Khalil Gibran, 1883-1931. I'd like to add that Shiv in his book demonstrates much knowledge that acts. Shiv uses that much knowledge that acts. He is not idle in implementing, teaching, sharing his wisdom, his passion, and I recommend this book to everyone. I would love to see this be implemented in the schools. I'd love to. I know that there are practices being implemented around the country and around the world by people who share their successes with children. 5-year-olds that are being taught with the Heart Math Institute. They have an app that you can put a device and clip it to your earlobe and plug it into the program on your computer, and children can interactively see what their breath and heart rate variability is. And there are YouTube videos that are embedded into Shiv's breathing app. It has a learning section in there, and he's listed several links to videos showing some of the successes of teaching little children, kids that say they used to hit others, they don't no longer hit each other. There's some real powerful sharing. I had in my reading workshop, a family of 4 that came here. It was a 3 generations, grandmother about my age, the daughter about 50, and 16 and 13-year-old daughters, granddaughters. The one was born in Canada and the other was born in the United States. And that family of 4 was here at spring break in Lake Havasu City to explore this city, to live, to get out of the school that they're in Utah. In the neighborhood that I grew up in Mill Creek, Utah, these kids were being taught things that were very divisive. They came into the workshop, and these young girls had hoodies on, and they sat there. They came in with their mom and grandmother, who saw the breath workshop advertised, and came in to explore the workshop, because the young lady, the mother, is a healer, and she had her daughters there. We had a couple of other ladies and gentlemen in the class in this 2-hour workshop, and we told these 13 and 16-year-old girls that we're honored to have you here with us. We like you to join and participate if you want. We welcome you. So we showed a couple of videos and did some introduction to the practices of deep diaphragmatic breathing, and then we got on to Shiv's web app and did a 20-minute breathing exercise, after which those young girls pulled their hoods up from being, hiding behind them a little bit. And with the warm spirits that we had in that room in the breathing workshop, a young lady was able to get them engaged, and they started telling their story of being given assignments in school. This is 2023 in the United States, being told that they had assignments that they had to write on a topic that's very divisive topics, that they had to write the affirmative, why this policy was good for everyone. When they and their mother and their grandmother and their family didn't embrace those concepts, they asked, can we write the opposite view, like a contrasting viewpoint? And the teacher said, no, you will not pass your course if you don't write your essay in the affirmative on these topics, which were very divisive. And the 16-year-old girl's topic and the 13-year-old girl's topic, neither one of them embraced it. And yet they were told they would not pass their class if they didn't write on behalf of this social policy that is definitely didn't resonate with them. I heard them share some beautiful things and some terrifying things. Beautiful in the fact that they shared from their heart that they didn't like being approached by teachers and other students to identify them by themselves by pronouns that they just wanted to go to school. They just wanted to learn. They didn't want to be boxed into separateness of this or that or the other. And these young girls shared from their hearts that they stood their ground. They didn't write essays on the affirmative of some things, healthcare things that they didn't believe in, different things of that nature. So they were down here to Lake Havasu to explore, to try to get into another school. So I see that struggle that these kids must be faced with. It's a tough time to be raising kids as a parent. I've got it easy. I'm a grandfather, so I don't have that day-to-day issue of raising the children, but those educators, those teachers around the world that have the ability, if they're trained properly and then they're exposed to the concepts in global action and education, this book should be, in my opinion, this book should be a required reading of anyone in college, anyone going into education, anyone teaching. This book not only outlines how to put this into the educational system, these concepts, and teach these practices, but it's good for anybody, good for anybody that is caring about children and about the earth and about bringing us all together. Shiv, you've done a remarkable job on this book. The book includes tables, figures that help support all these concepts. The book is, I've got this book marked up quite well. I take it with me to the breathing workshops sometimes as a reference because it touches on so many of the concepts of unity and diversity. I am honored and grateful to have met Shiv Talwar, to know Shiv, to call Shiv a friend, to have been exposed to things through Shiv's knowledge and sharing that I may not have been exposed to before. I've always been resonating with this, a unity garden that I was created out there where I met Shiv. It's a place to bring people together, and so his books, The Common Ground, A Unified Basis of Existence. This is volume 1, so that must mean there's another volume coming out. But his second book, Global Action and Education, I highly recommend. I highly recommend. I'm so grateful to be here, and I thank you all for this opportunity. And again, thank you, Shiv. Thank you for all you do and continue to do. You're an inspiration. You're a go-getter. You are a doer. You do it all. And hopefully anyone that picks up this book will pick up that passion to bring us all together and understand it and understand how we're connected, understand ourselves. When I can finally recognize the divinity in me, then that's when I can recognize it in others, in everything, in the plant world, in the animal world, in our of us. Thank you very much. I highly recommend Global Action and Education, Contemplative Learning of Unity and Diversity. Thank you.